We talk about love like it's some kind of magic, right? This unpredictable, mysterious force. But what if it's not? What if the way we connect is actually governed by the same basic laws that shape everything from stars to sound waves? Well, in this explainer, we're going to look at love through a totally different lens, the lens of physics. It always starts like this, doesn't it? It's the beginning of every story we've ever been told. Two people meet, and their worlds just click. It feels simple, beautiful, almost like it was written in the stars. But hold on a second, let's just pause right there. Because what if that feeling, that falling in love, isn't an accident at all? What if it's actually a mechanical process? Thinkers like Walter Russell and Richard Merrick had this radical idea that love is really about the interaction between energy fields, all governed by the laws of resonance and coherence.
Okay, so to understand how a connection actually works, we first have to look at why so many of them, well, don't. And the problem for most of us is that we're trying to build something stable on a foundation of total internal chaos. You can think of it as trying to build on a tilted plane.
According to Walter Russell, this is a state of radiation. It's an energy field that's just totally out of balance. You know the feeling, talking too fast, that nervous energy, your attention is all over the place. That state isn't attractive. It's actually repulsive. It's not drawing things in, it's pushing them away. I mean, how can someone really connect with you if your own energy is fundamentally unstable?
And this image right here, it visualizes that chaos perfectly. Imagine your inner world is this swirling vortex, a tilted plane. If love is trying to find a place to land, there's just no stable center for it to grab onto. All that energy is just spinning outward, completely out of control. So if the problem is this chaotic, tilted plane, then the solution has to be creating a stable, simplified one. And here's the key. It doesn't start with finding the right person. It starts with centering yourself first. The goal is to become what physicists call a standing wave. A standing wave is the exact opposite of that chaotic vortex we just saw. It's stable. It's coherent. Yeah, it oscillates, it has a rhythm, but it holds its center. It's this inner stability that creates a field of attraction, what Russell would call gravitative potential. It's like you develop your own quiet gravity, and that allows other calm, coherent waves to naturally be drawn to you and, resonate. All right, so that's the goal then, become a standing wave. But how in the world do you actually do that? How do you go from that frantic, spiraling energy to a state of calm, centered oscillation? Well, the answer comes from a really fascinating principle in plasma physics. It's a process called Landau damping. And here's the amazing part. It's a process of self-correction. The system naturally wants to find stability. It sheds its own chaotic energy all by itself. So you don't actually have to fight the chaos. You just have to let the system find its own balance.
It's exactly the same for us. Life is that wave, and it forces us to get in sync. We learn to let go of the energies that are too fast, the anxiety, the overthinking, and we learn to embrace the ones that are too slow, like being present and calm, until we find that perfect, stable ride.
So let's make this super practical. On the left, you've got repulsion, what Russell calls radiation. That's the chaotic energy we're trying to damp down. And on the right, you've got attraction, or gravitation. That's the state of a standing wave. The difference is pretty obvious, right? It's all about moving from scattered, high-speed behaviors to calm, rhythmic, and focused ones.
Okay, so you've done the work. You've centered yourself. You've become a stable standing wave. Now what happens? What happens when your wave meets another stable standing wave? This right here is where true connection actually begins. The mechanism for this is called reflective interference. See, when two coherent waves meet, they don't just crash into each other. They interact in a really elegant way. They can amplify each other, cancel out all the background noise, and form a brand new, unified pattern that's way more stable than either wave was on its own. The absolute best analogy for this is a laser. You've got two mirrors reflecting light between them. Any light that's out of phase or chaotic just gets canceled out. But what gets amplified? The single, pure, coherent frequency. In a relationship, two centered people act just like those mirrors, reflecting their stability back and forth, canceling out all the noise and chaos, and just amplifying the pure signal of their connection. So this is the big takeaway here. It's not that 1 + 1 = 2. It's that two resonant systems lock into phase and become one new, more powerful system. They create a shared center. this common point they both pivot around, and they start to oscillate in perfect harmony. This is the geometry of a really powerful bond.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal of a connection, at least when you look at it through the lens of physics. It isn't drama or intensity or passion in that chaotic way we sometimes think. No, it's something much, much more elegant.
And here it is. Walter Russell just nails it with this one line. Full love is a state of low noise and high coherence. It's a signal that's pure, it's clear, and it's strong. And just think about what that state feels like. It's the complete opposite of what we often see in movies, that chaotic romance. It's not about heat and friction, it's about symmetry and flow. A coherent connection is generative. It actually creates more energy than it uses up. It doesn't drain you, it empowers you, because the whole system is just stable and incredibly efficient. So let's just end with this thought to chew on. What if love isn't just this personal, emotional thing we experience? What if, by creating these coherent fields together, we're actually taking part in a cosmic act of creation, taking all this chaotic energy and organizing it into a more stable, more beautiful, more resonant form? What if love is just one of the ways the universe brings order to itself?